There is no traditional path anymore. I failed classes to do short films, and I'll do it over and over again if I had to. Like, money will hit like quick, you know, when you least expect it, even if it's something like $1,000. It's a dark future that I look, you know, when I wake up, I'm pretty pessimistic in a way that's like, oh, am I gonna make it? But thinking of other young people in the same shoes that are doing work like that motivates me. You're in a mindset where it just hits you out of nowhere, or something you see triggers that idea. It's the same thing where I'll hear a melody, or I'll be walking down the park and the melody or the theme would come to me. If you talk to people in the commercial music space, and library music and sync music is a big thing for musicians, but AI can like take all that down. I'm sure you look on YouTube with composer directors talking about temp scores. Some people hate it, some people love it. I love it. It's because it's the most direct way to understand the emotion that you're going for. Learn from Mic Ferrante, like, come here, I'll teach you some piano.
Nick, thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Oh my God. Guys, I've been looking at this first act break since episode 1. I've been asking John when I'm going to get in this damn thing. So I'm here.
Hey, and now you're here.
And now you're here. Something I noticed, you're the first composer on our podcast.
For sure.
And we've worked on 6 movies together already, which is crazy, right?
That can't be said by most people at USC, bro.
That's true. And I haven't worked with any other composer since I met you, which is, you know,
appreciate you, bro.
This partnership's been going for a while.
I'll fucking kill you if you work with me.
Yo! But dude, the thing is, what I notice a lot about composers is some of the greatest composers have so many credits. And you, like a lot of great ones, have 40 films, and you've worked with people like Cenat, Zemeckis, USC football, LA Rams, the NBA, and just so many other narrative films. You're Emmy nominated.
Bro.
So your stuff really sounds amazing.
Thank you so much.
And my question for you, honestly, is like favorite composer.
Okay. Favorite composer?
Of all time.
Of all time? John Williams. He's the reason Star Wars.
Oh,
he's the reason, I started composing music. Because it's the whole thing where, because I wanted to play football and like sports all my life, but I've also played piano. And then it just hit me, the way that John Williams' music is like odd. It's a conveyor belt right to your heart. And the way it manipulated, you know, just growing up listening to soundtracks from movies and all the Lego Star Wars video games.
Yeah.
Like, I think of my family and like every memory I've had growing up when I hear like Princess Leia's theme. It's like, I want to freaking learn how to do that. So since then, it was always sort of the journey to unravel the techniques and like how the heck to manipulate people's emotions like that.
Was piano your first instrument?
Yeah.
Were you the one?
Instrument. Sorry?
Were you the one who wanted to play it, or did your parents make you?
Piano was like math. Like my Asian parents and my mom was like, you sit down, you do your math homework, and then you practice piano. So I low key didn't vibe with piano until I got pretty good in like middle school, high school, and then I wanted to be a pianist. Sort of leaving the sports stuff, wanted to be a pianist, and then the John Williams sort of epiphany happened, and I was like, I'm going to compose music. Yeah.
And around what time was that epiphany?
Probably junior year of high school.
Junior year of high school.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you? You know, that
it's
you
funny.
decided to...
I actually like remember the distinct moment. It was like in a jazz band room, and we were playing a chart, and I was like, oh my God, like John Williams fucks me up. Like I can totally learn how to do that. Like I can acquire that skill set. You know, especially applying for. I know I want to go to USC, and I was like, oh my God, when I did that, yeah.
Well, when you realized that you wanted to acquire that skill set, did people believe you?
I think so, because I was sort of like the piano guy, and I went to John Burroughs High School. It's a pretty artsy school. There was like one other composer who's my really good friend. So people knew I could compose.
Did your parents support this decision?
Yeah, as far as my strict Asian parenting goes, they're my number one supporters. So
that's awesome.
For sure. Yeah, no, nobody believed I could be a professional athlete, but when I said I could do music, they're like, okay, bet.
What was it like being like one of the only composers at your school? I mean, I remember when I was like one of the only like film people at my high school. So like, what was it like being the person who can like make music like that nobody else can?
You know, it's funny that I felt like I was glazed because I was the only composer, but in the same way that I'm around so many film people, because my whole thing was I went to USC to work. Like I literally went to USC so I can work with filmmakers, and you know, film school saturated with directors and producers and DPs. Like being a composer, even though there's a lot of musicians, right across the street at Thornton, like I feel like there's not a lot of maybe undergraduate people that are consistently reaching out to do films. So I felt like I feel unique, in the room with you guys, which always feels like amazing. And you're glazing my ass, John. Like, wait, am I allowed to cuss or no?
Yeah.
Like moderately?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first time you got a real paycheck from...
Literally, my first paycheck was this past October working on Flint's USC video. And since then, it's been like a rolling ball of doing campaign, commercial, and like sports work, which I'd never expected to do. But I'm so thankful for, because not only is it my first, role of paychecks, but it's the first time people like in the world are listening, like on their own time to my music, whether it's not even like watching a short film in the theater, which is always amazing because my dream is to do narrative work, but people on their phone are like scrolling through social media and looking at, I don't know, the Cenat video or the NBA, Jumbotron video, hype videos. So,
right.
Yeah.
And is that how you got yourself into the door of...
hopefully in 10 years I'll look back and when we're scoring your big feature film, walking down Broadway or something, like I hope to like tell Flint, hey, like that opportunity with USC was like the start of my paid work. Maybe this answers your previous question too, like what's the most misunderstood part of a composer? Probably like the career trajectory, because everybody's like, what's the plan? Maybe it's like you where, in this highly saturated place like LA, everybody's trying to make it. So it's just doing everything you can to give yourself the best chance for that moment to happen. So, doing these campaign and commercial works, it's not my dream. I want to score a big narrative film like with you. But if the campaign work leads me to somebody who knows somebody, in the campaign realm, and maybe that commercial, leads to a feature film, that'd be amazing. But then maybe all the commercial stuff is just a way to get paid. And then somebody like, an amazing director and writer like you will go and produce something big, and then I'll follow along. So it's just planting seeds in all the different trajectories for sure.
And going off of that, like how do you make sure that your work gets seen by people who might want to work with you, including maybe like social media, your website? Like how do you get your work out there so that people can maybe contact you? And
totally. I'm thinking I'll answer your question on like a larger scope. It's funny because I always look up to filmmakers, because I think you guys are so, I could be totally wrong, but if you're so talented, like you can make a connection and pitch your idea or like your script or your film to like a higher up, and maybe there's a chance they'll look at it and produce it and you get millions of dollars. I'm like, that is insane to me, because as a film composer, like there's no world where I can go up to a director, like a big director, and be like, hey, here's my music, like let me score it. Or even a bigger composer and be like, hey, this is my work, like let me have your job. Like it's always, there's either trajectory of assisting a big composer like John Williams or like Ludwig Göransson for like 10 years, and then eventually they'll have a project and they'll hand it down to you. There's never like a direct line like that, unless you're doing like popular music or you're a rock musician and you show your music and you put it out there. But sorry, to answer your actual question, I feel like that's the similarity between us. You guys are way better at me than at marketing and just like having a business mindset. Like I have a website and a reel, and
you got more followers than me though, so.
No, but yeah, I try to market myself and network just like you guys do, for sure.
And I feel like you've done such a good job. Like everyone I talk to knows your work and knows how talented you are, which is like
I appreciate you
super
guys.
cool to just being like my composer, right? It's like talking to people, like they just think my films are extra higher level because you're on it.
Oh, that's so sweet. If
really
there were
cool.
like, if the audience out here are incoming USC or music students, I would love to talk. If they're aspiring film composers, and like love to talk to them about like my experience with school and how I think aspiring film composers should go about it. Because I that's reassuring that you feel that people know me like in the film school, because I think that was the big goal, like getting my name into the film, the film community.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you've worked with a lot of narrative directors on many short films. Like, what is something you wish more directors would know about your work?
I think it's more so about, I try to portray myself, like, honestly, that I haven't gotten paid for one short film, like literally one short film to this day, because it's all about the relationship I have with those directors. And I feel like I'm pretty personable. Like I'm a very extroverted person, and I love hanging out with people. So I hope people don't take my networking, my mass networking as like a persona to like get the gig. You know, I genuinely want to work, you know, with people that are my friends. Like, you're the perfect, you know, outcome of, you know, networking at a personal level, because we're hanging, we're homies. Like,
I know,
and if
bro.
for whatever reason we don't make it, like, you're gonna be my homie like forever. You know,
for sure.
So I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if that answered the question.
No, and I think it's really cool that we met through playing football with each other. I didn't even know you're like scoring movies at all.
That's like
right.
One of those stories. Like, oh, I met like Ryan Coogler playing football in intramural. Like, what?
Exactly. That's kind of a story you could tell in the future.
No,
definitely.
dude, that story's gonna be crazy.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
And you've worked with so many big brands now, and what is it like working with them? Because like, do they give you creative control? Is it based on the project? What's it like? You know,
it's pretty incredible having experience with corporate people, like with the NBA and NFL campaigns. It's funny. I guess this is good that I'm disconnected from the business side and the corporate people and like the producers and executive producers. I'm on full creative mode, like whenever. The only time I do business is with like to figure out rates and trying to work with the manager. So even they, you know, I output that work to them. So it's always full creative control, which has been amazing. I haven't run into any, because I hear in the film industry, which is totally fine. It's funny. There's more like of a corporate feeling working with narrative films, because it's like, oh, the editor or like the director thinks, you know, this scene doesn't work, let's score it 3 more times. Totally fine. But with campaign work, it's like, it's been more of, hey, like, we need to get this to the client. I trust your vision. Like, score the hell out of this 30 seconds and we'll do edits.
Wow, that's nuts.
So, yeah, that's been a nice difference, I think.
And who are the people reaching out to you? Is it the directors or, like, who?
Well, hopefully this answer will evolve over time as I meet more and bigger people. But social media is a small world. So just directors reaching out to me, producers reaching out to me. And I always work with the creative people. It's never been like a chain of people I've had to talk to, which is nice. Even in the corporate world, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for the Cenat video, who reached out to you for
like
that?
Literally Chris Villa, the director. I knew nothing behind the scenes. I only talked to Chris. I talked to the editor and then the sound designer. And it's crazy how I love narrative work. That's what I want to do. But what I love about the commercial world is this goes along the theme of me, working with people. I love how I can work with a new team every new month, like every other month, and meet new people. And even though they're quick projects and they're these 30-second to a minute spots, it's always motivating to see like the network growing and following more people on these Instagram and seeing these like hundreds of mutuals.
Yeah,
it's like if I'm doing something, hopefully I'm going the right path. We'll see.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, how often do you have a score for these like campaigns that you hear the reaction to the music, For sure. It's funny. This is like my deep dive into like music, but I'll eventually answer your question. Yeah.
But what I love about music is I feel like it's the most direct conduit to your emotions. Like film is amazing. I think that the layers and the structure of film conveys, strikes your nostalgia at the deepest level. But I feel like over time, consistently, music is what hits your heart the most. Like when you're going through something, you listen to music. When you're at the gym, you listen to music. So to answer your question on the wrong one, when people say like, hey, your music made a difference, like I love the Arrival of the Trojans, like USC video, because the music was so epic. I'm like, whoa, like my development of my craft is actually, making people feel that way. It's like, that's the reason I'm doing music, is John Williams, music reflects my entire childhood. So hopefully that grows at a higher level, and, people will grow up thinking of my music,
Dude, totally.
Sure.
I do wonder, speaking of Arrival of the Trojan, that first sound in that song.
Yeah, am I getting sued by Sony right now, bro? What's going on?
I wonder, has anyone said anything about that first beat, like that first,
like the foghorn,
like the Among Us,
dude? If you look in the comment sections, my siblings are like shitting on me. Like, what is this, Among Us? It's so funny. I don't know how much I could say because I'm scoring the newest the upcoming arrival of the Trojans, or the upcoming football hype video. And I told Cenat, the director, I was like, yo, can we put the foghorn in it? Because I want, like, at first it was cool, and then it was like an inside joke with my friends, and now it's like, wait, could this be the signature USC football music?
Wow.
And I think Cenat said, let's change it up a bit. So it's actually, now it's sort of like a Prowler, Spider-Verse sound.
Oh, okay.
But to answer your question, yeah, that was a big sound that we talked about.
Was that inspired by Among Us or no?
Not at all. But afterwards, I'm like, shit, that's Among Us.
That's so funny. Just a random. I didn't know Cenat was directing the new one.
Yeah, Cenat's great. We actually have the same birthday, so.
Oh, sick. Well, I gotta get him on the podcast too.
Oh, you should. Yeah. He's very talented for sure.
I am curious though, like scoring something like Missing at Sea, which is something more, I guess, slightly smaller scale compared to the USC hype video and whatnot. How do you go about fine-tuning the level of like intensity with the score that you put out, and like how do you go about making sure that the score matches the mood or the visuals?
Sure. In general, like spotting is the first step with the director. And Jiyoung, after doing 6 films together, we have that on point. Like what I admire about you, out of all the directors I've worked with, is your psychological connection to the film, and that relays directly like emotions. So when you talk about your films, I know exactly the sound that it needs. And since I feel like our drafts have been super, like we've clicked on most of the drafts that we've worked on. Everything you talk about is just like fine tuning these levels of different emotions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put down any other director. Every director I've worked with is amazing, but your knowledge of like psychology and the deeper meaning of like your work is like incredible.
Thank you,
and to be a part of.
You as well. I feel like I've never really heard anyone talk about music the way you do, with how it relates to the mind and how it relates to the inside, right?
Thank you, bro. Well, that's because I'm one of the only few composers you've worked with, but I hope so.
Dude, no. I mean, I really do appreciate you talking about that. Of course, man. And you know, what is the difference between working with like these more narrative films and these campaigns, and like
for sure
how much you enjoy doing them and stuff? It's
funny because I think one of the key things that I've unraveled through my journey to discover how John Williams impacts people's childhoods and emotions is melody is such a crucial component of music. There's like melody, harmony, and rhythm. And when I think of John Williams and these nostalgic things that run through my head, it's always these soaring melodies. So I think melody is a I don't mean to go music fucking nerdy on you.
No, you're good.
But melody, and it's sort of my argument if I were to make like a thesis paper, melody is a culmination of being an expert at music, because it requires you to I don't know if there's a analogy in film, but you have to master all your craft of music to make a great melody. And what by working on narrative films, I have the opportunity to write a memorable melody or a theme. It's funny because I tell you, literally every single film we have, there's always an element of melody or theme. That's a through line throughout your film. So, there's less or so an opportunity to do that in commercial, because it's not as, the narrative arc isn't as strong as doing a film. So that's why, ultimately that's why I want to do narrative.
Nice.
That's the big goal. So I can portray my music and my themes, because that's what's going to really strike the audience.
Have you done a feature film yet?
No, I haven't. I had an opportunity to do it, and I passed it on, funny enough, to do these commercial things, because it's that thing where I am meeting young creative people frequently doing commercials, which I love. And that feature, sorry to rant, but that feature was for like an adult, and I would have to commit to it for a longer time.
Right.
So I definitely want to do a feature with, somebody that I have a relationship with or I see a future with. No offense to the people doing that feature. Great movie, by the way.
I am curious though, now that you've done a lot of short films, which really do have, they're typically range from 9 minutes, maybe even shorter, to 19, maybe 20. But for a feature film, there's so much room that you can explore in terms of the score. I'm curious though, what would you think is the biggest challenge moving on from short films to feature film scoring in the future, if you get to do features in the future?
It's funny enough. On an artistic level, I am totally ready to do a feature. Like that excites me because it's just expanding this idea of having and developing this musical theme that translates so directly to people's emotions. So from a technical standpoint, I have no problem. It's more so like literally the time it takes, because it takes me, I can't count hours, but if I want to do a full orchestral score for, I just did Zane and Reese Zemeckis' short films, and it took a full month, I'd say, to write. This is for like a 30-piece orchestra and like eight person chorus. And that was for 5 minutes. If you think an hour, however many times you multiply it, that is months of grueling work.
Yeah.
So I just have to be a time and place where I can afford to do that, or it pays well enough. But that's the dream. I'm ready for that. Just waiting for boys like you to get there. You know what I mean? And you, sorry, my bad.
You're good.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes you such a unique director, is that you care a lot about the theme more than all the instrumentation and stuff, is that is what hits the emotion, right? And it does seem a lot of like parallels with John Williams and you in that aspect. I wonder though, like, what is your process in coming up with a theme?
For sure. That's the, maybe that's the big difference. Okay, I'll answer that question in the way I asked, how do you come up with like a great story? Maybe it's just you're in a mindset where it just hits you out of nowhere, or something you see triggers that idea. It's the same thing where I'll hear a melody, or I'll be walking down the park, and the melody or the theme would come to me, and it extrapolates from your experience studying. So same thing how a writer writes down a sentence without even thinking. It's subconscious, but it generates from their wealth of reading and their pool of knowledge. So the same thing, I've studied so many different genres of music, and studied so many great melodies that I feel like I could produce a pretty good musical phrase or a melody just from my pool of knowledge. If that was the long answer to your question.
No, that's not even long. That's great.
Okay, for sure.
That's awesome. That's so interesting. Like, because when a movie idea hits you, it's like, I feel like anyone can sort of get that, right? But a melody idea I just feel like that's so different.
Yeah, it feels much more abstract than like a story, I feel.
I haven't thought about that, because you're right. I feel like it's because everybody has developed some idea of storytelling, because we've all gone to school and some element of writing and creation. But I feel like if everybody grew up studying music a little bit, everybody would have some ability to just come up with like da 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 da, like that's a melody. I've studied music, and I've crafted it in a way that I can develop a melody on the spot pretty well. So I feel like it's approachable if people studied it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm
no genius.
I do wonder though, like, do you ever say you have like a whole Sunday free and you just really feel like coming up with something?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever do that just to like experiment with different sounds, like without necessarily like a material, like a short film or a commercial to work on? Like, do you just kind of jam as a composer in a way?
It's funny. The other half, one of my other big inspirations besides John Williams is Ludwig Göransson, because he has a parallel life where he's scoring multimedia projects, but he's also producing for Childish Gambino.
That's right.
So my other half is producing and songwriting. So if I'm not working on like a film, I'm definitely working on my own music. I'm gonna drop an EP soon, guys. So check it out.
Like, actually,
yeah, hopefully.
Are you singing
What's that?
Are you singing?
The vocal part is complicated. Like, probably gonna be mix of singers, but producing and writing everything.
That's
funny.
sick.
The through line between writing a melody and writing a powerful theme in the music of film correlates directly with the ability to songwrite, in my opinion. Because John Williams, before he was a film composer, was a great jazz pianist. And if you research some of his like songs, even like Somewhere in My Memory, that's sort of like filmy, but he's wrote tunes that people remember, forever. And Henry Mancini, he wrote Moon River and these big songs. And you don't really associate them with film, maybe. You just think they're songs. So a great like melodic composer will create the best songs that you listen to on like your free time.
Wow.
For sure.
And when you talk a lot about studying their music, like, what does that look like to you?
For sure. It's funny, I'm so, as we all are involved in like the business side of networking and everything, I lose sight of how much I actually love like the craft of music, and I haven't been studying as much as I want to, but I don't know how you guys analyze film, but a lot of analysis and like, maybe this, I don't know, it's unique in music because I choose what to study because I want to study what makes me feel good. Like I'll listen to the best part of a piece. I'm like, oh my God, that made me feel nostalgic and also sad. Like, how do I implement, those skills to my music? So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, and what do you think like makes it where I would listen to a song and I instantly love that song, but someone else hear the same exact melody, they just like don't click with it. It's like, it's whatever. Like, what is that thing that makes us all have such different tastes in music?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'll answer on the reciprocal side. I think there's a pretty universal element of music. Like if you listen to blues and like soul, there are some classic songs like B.B. King. If you just search up a video and him like singing with this beautiful like sexy tone and the guitar, like there isn't one person. Like if you go to the Middle East and it's like a random country and talk to people that have like not involved or have touched with the Western culture, I bet you they're gonna love the piece. Because there's that universal element of music that I think is like involved in the formula of like how great melodies affect people. But to answer your question, I think everybody has their own creative palette and their own preferences. Sorry, I'm answering on the reciprocal. I think I think music is more universal. Yeah. But I like to break down music by like the songwriting, so the craft of the song, the production, like the quality of, maybe in the same way a high budget film is produced, a low budget film, and also the person performing. It's like the singer. So I think people like to click with one or if not all the elements. Like a lot of my friends like these really shitty songs that are really well produced and have like a great singer on it. And I'm like, I will never listen to it because I think the song sucks and I can't bear it. And I'll listen to songs that are so well written and performed by like a YouTube cover. I'm like, I will listen to this all day. Like this 10-year-old kid singing like Idaho. That's like 100 views. Yeah. So to answer your question, I think people without knowing relate to one of these three, elements of music that resonates with them for sure.
And I wonder, like, as a director, like, how does a director improve their taste in music? Someone who's not in the music industry at all.
What's interesting is, to be transparent, I hope I don't lose gigs over this, but when people make temp scores, I don't do that because I like struggle to make temp scores, and film directors always have a palette of music that they go to. I'm like, how did you do that? Which is totally ironic, So it's funny you asked that because I think directors are so well versed with emotions and storytelling that finding music comes naturally to them. It's funny. I've never had a director, like directors are always like, I don't speak music. Like, I don't understand music. Like, I don't know what to do, but then they're so well versed in like what they love in music and they can pull, right from that for their temp music. So that's never a worry for directors in my opinion, but I don't know. I think like going off of what you love and exploring new music, just like the rest of us do. But I feel like you have a position where you're so well versed in storytelling where you can sort of direct, your emotions and be like, oh, I'll listen to this new genre of music because this portrays like a certain, emotion I'm going for.
I'm curious though, like, what's your take on temp scores in general?
As I'm sure you look on YouTube with composer directors talking about temp scores. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I love it because... And you'll hear composers that say they love it. It's because it's the most direct way to understand, the emotion that you're going for. And I think it's the skill set of the composer to figure out how to understand, the emotion they're going for, but throw away the technicality or the literal physicality of the music and, create your own voice. I'm not making a sound alike of the temp score. I'm just understanding that this portrays... sad darkness, but with some like nostalgia, then I'm going to, use my craft and replace the temp score with my music for sure.
Nice. I want to know, like, what is that process like? Like if I gave you a orchestral piece from John Williams' Star Wars and I'm like, sure, make something similar to that. Like, how do you go step by step into something original?
For sure. Well, in the case, let's say that you pull out a fully orchestral score with John Williams, and you want to replace it with something that wasn't orchestral, like I would be able to do that because if the emotion's the same, then I could pull from my hat of tools. Because I've studied jazz, hip hop, R&B, rock, classical music. I hope they can hear this in like the commercial work. And I feel like most film and multimedia composers are well versed in so many different genres that it's different than 100 years ago. You know, you have jazz guys, you have classical guys, you have ragtime people. It's like people nowadays are super multi-talented. So yeah, pulling from a bag of what I studied is pretty natural because I've spent so much time, writing in different genres, for sure.
Nice. And for someone who's like just trying to get into the world of, professional composing, what is the traditional like career path for that?
For sure.
Someone that's in high school right now.
It's funny because music is so diverse nowadays. When you think back then, people think, oh, I'm going to go listen to the concert hall, or I'm going to go to like the jazz room, or like go to the rock room. Now everything is everyone does everything. And there's so many blends and fusions of music. There is no traditional path anymore. If you go, there are people that go study jazz, or they'll go study how to be a rock star at Berkeley, which is crazy because who would think you can go to college to be a rock star? And then they're ending up scoring a film like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They did all of David Fincher's movies. Yeah, and the new and the Soul Pixar movie. They were rock stars. Danny Elfman was a rock star, and they're doing film scores, like some of the best film music you ever heard. John Williams did the more traditional approach. He studied classical music. He was an orchestral composer and jazz pianist. So he was more diversified. And then he went up sort of the corporate realm of going from, being an assistant to somebody or maybe playing in a session to writing for some TV spots. And then Steven Spielberg saw his work and you're going to do the next feature film. You could be some guy in the street and meet a director and show him like your rock star moves, and it'll be like, whoa, I sort of want that sound in my film. So there's no traditional route anymore.
Okay, this is like a sidetrack, but I think something like that kind of happened. I think there was this guy who had like a golden voice. I'm not sure if you familiar with that story. That like was really struggling, with life, but then someone just discovered that he had an amazing voice, and he did like 200, 300 commercials or something, and it kind of changed his life around. So
as a singer,
like a voiceover actor or something.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and bless those people. Even on a smaller scale, I have friends that were performing on the streets. They just street performing at the age of 13, 14. They got picked up by studios because they saw talent. So
yeah, you never know.
What percent of like success, in screen scoring is based on luck?
This is a pretty universal answer in the creative industry. I'm sure you feel the same exact way about what I'm going to say. But this goes back to what I was saying about how I can never predict how I'm going to get or I'm going to make it or break it. But it's just putting yourself out there in every way you can to up your chances of luck. So in terms specifically of film music, if young composers, inspired composers are listening, I'll take from this is the traditional or just way to go. It's just having your foot in different doors of the music industry, which would be having a connection with a bigger film composer, because through that you'll meet not only other composers but film executives and music supervisors, which are gonna make your connection. Being scoring directly with a community of filmmakers, whether it's at USC or a school or just filmmakers, and then having a presence on social media. Maybe that's the most direct route. If I was, in my pop music, I blow up, or a scout finds me and they sign me. And then the last and most important thing is just being diversified in your music. I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself just doing one thing or the other in this world. I mean, sure, you can. I'm not going to tell you not to be a great classical musician. That's all you do. But seeing how I get up worrying about the next job, and I feel like I'm a really diversified musician. And if I feel worried, I can't imagine how my friends that are strict classical composers or strict jazz musicians are feeling. Everybody after school that are very pigeonholed in one, and I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way, but only do one genre of music, or struggling to find work. So from a practical level, definitely diversify your music.
Going off of like diversifying, how do you go about finding ways to maybe explore your creativity outside of music?
For sure.
Maybe like there's a different avenue. I know you play football, so maybe that's one way to like just get your mind off like composing, because I feel like a lot of creative endeavors can get overwhelming. So I do wonder, like, are there ways that you sort of quote unquote relax but also kind of keep up with the creativity without the music?
I'm probably expanding this answer in ways that you're not thinking of, but I admire how film people are so well versed in everything. Like, I heard a quote like, oh, you shouldn't study film, you should study English or philosophy or history so you can have a story to tell. So I think you guys always have something else going on. Like I see a film person like doing a public servant project or like, having a social agenda, which is so cool. I feel like an idiot, like as a musician, when I'm not doing that. I'm just playing video games, hanging out with the boys or family. My work-life balance is pretty well.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't have a more in-depth answer. I'm kind of a dumb person.
No, dude, definitely not.
I'm a simple man.
That's great.
Hey, simple man's great.
Yeah. And I do wonder, I mean, you graduated from USC 2 years ago. What do you think? Do you feel like film school or like scoring school is worth it?
This is one of those things where I'll look back in 10 years and be like, yeah, definitely. So far, right after coming out of school, I feel like I did everything I could at USC, and it was the best experience of my life. I met great, I mean this with complete sincerity, like great filmmakers like yourself who inspire me to believe in my future, because I believe that, you or another director is going to make it or lead to another opportunity. So people always say in any department or any facility of USC, like USC is a great place to be because of the people you meet, and I think it's absolutely true. Not lesser, the teachers and the administration are great, but more so just the young people. And I think going about my career, I've gravitated towards working with other young people, because I love being in a community where we inspire each other. And I always hear that like, oh, we inspire each other. I mean, like genuinely, like it's a dark future that I look, when I wake up, I'm pretty pessimistic in a way that's like, oh, am I going to make it? But thinking of other young people in the same shoes that are doing work, like that motivates me. And no, that'll keep going. But to answer your question about music school, I think I think that important is building community of other ambitious people. So whether that's you're at music school or I have a ton of friends that don't want to pay freaking $200,000 to go to school, they'll move to LA and they have a networking personality. So if you have that personality and you make the steps to actually get out here and make the same connections that I'll be making at film school or music school, then you don't need to go to film school. But my experience was amazing.
Nice.
For sure.
And did being at USC bring you to great mentors, or like who are some of the greatest people you worked with or underneath, mentored by?
Sure. I'm the wrong person to talk about class and teachers, because I failed classes to do short films, and I'll do it over and over again if I had to. But that doesn't take away from the craft that I've developed from the teachers, who I think are the best in the world. Like for the music people out there, like orchestration, counterpoint, like harmony, jazz, piano, like that is the best you can find at USC. You can find great professors too at other great universities, but it's more so the combination of a great academic environment with a community of likely-minded, ambitious people. I think USC is the best school in the world for film music, for sure. Yeah, or just any music. It's very diversified.
Nice. Yeah. What's the difference between what you do and what Mozart did back in the day?
That's a great question. I like to compare and contrast myself. Not me. I can never be as great as Mozart, but to like great musicians and Mozart. I don't know if people know Jacob Collier, but he's this prodigy musician who is also one of the reasons I went to college and big inspiration, because he's an expert at so many different genres and he fuses them together. And I'm no music history expert, but Mozart was so great because he was also inventive in the way he combined different styles. Like in a way that I combined rock and hip hop and cinematic music, he combined like French, German, and I don't know, like English music. So people heard his music, it's like, oh my God, this is like a unique sound that I haven't heard before. So in a way, I think Mozart and successful people and successfully creative people always have an open mind and open to learning new, expanding their creative palette. I think that's a similarity. But I'm blessed and fortunate to be in a world where, Mozart had to do classical music. He had to write operas and ballets. Like that was his path. Like I could do film music. I can go perform at a venue. Yeah. I can write for a Cenat commercial. Mozart was here today, he would be a rock star, film composer, jazz pianist. Like that. I think that's why I think Jacob Collier is like the modern day Mozart.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta listen to some Jacob stuff.
For sure. It's a little like crazy, but that's why probably people thought Mozart's music was crazy at the day, For sure.
And earlier you were talking about, which I felt really warm when you said that you feel like these young directors inspire you, to see past that potentially uncertain future.
Yeah.
And I do want to know, like, what is one time that you were ready to quit everything?
It's funny. To this day, I'm fortunate that, like, I can afford to live with my parents if something were to happen. But God, I have student loans to pay for that, on my name. So money is definitely a big factor. And that's fully hit me for really the first time, I think. That sounds so ignorant, but like a few months ago, coming out of school, because I'm at the point where I'm so ambitious about meeting people I see on social media and friends that are just in a different space of business, and they're doing the same thing I'm doing, networking constantly, working hard, staying up all night to do these projects, but they're projects that make them hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting the same energy, the same like area and same skills of like sales and networking, but they're making money, and I'm like looking on the long run. That's the first time I'm like, wait, maybe I don't quit, but can I make money first? And I think I know people that do that. A ton of musicians that have been in the industry, and they're like my age. They assisted and they had projects, and they're like, they found an opportunity to make money, and they're gonna come back to music. And I think that's completely admirable because everybody's a different situation in life. So I've definitely thought about like, hey, should I take a break to like ensure my family's future? My dad's gonna retire soon. So, I don't want him to sell the house and stuff. Not to get all like personal, but this is a reflection of like most people coming out of college. Like, how do I survive, and should I keep doing this? But fortunate enough, like I'm lucky that the commercial world has been, paying for stuff. So I'm just going to do that as long as I can, and, whatever opportunity comes about.
And how good does the commercial world pay?
Like in post sound, I can't speak for other people, but for myself, I'll do like a 30 to 60-second spot, and that for like something like a sports video, that could be like $1,000 to $2,000. Sounds great. But these come, especially in the industries, so down right now, that can come once every other month. So it's like, oh, you're making $1,000, $2,000 every month. Like that's not too good. But these things take a couple weeks to do. So I don't work at a coffee shop, but if I were to have a part-time job and do this, you get by for sure. So yeah, we're talking like the low thousands. Sometimes like $500,
right?
A couple $100, So,
I mean,
yeah,
I think that's the whole, reality of freelance, right? It's
for
like,
sure.
You just never know what it's gonna feel like.
Totally. And I think it's funny. Literally, like less than a year ago, I haven't gotten paid. Literally a year ago, I've gotten paid $0 for anything. So if I were to hear myself talking now, like, oh, I'm making $1,000 to $2,000 to $500 on a commercial spot, I'd be like pumping my air, like, oh my God, I'm fine. So if I don't know, there are young musicians or I don't even filmmakers like watching this, like money will hit like quick, when you least expect it, even if it's something like $1,000. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you've done so many gigs now, right?
Oh.
A lot. But has there been any gigs that you've regretted picking up on?
No, there's never been a gig that I've regretted taking up, because I feel like it's one of those things where one day I'll have to make a choice. I haven't had to make this choice yet, but there's 2 gigs and it's like, what can be better for my future? And I took the wrong gig. But from all the great people that I've talked to, like Justin Hurwitz, passed up on the opportunity, composer for La La Land, passed up on the opportunity to be on a band that got signed by one of the big labels, and him and David Giselle quit the band, to write and make Madeline on a bench or whatever it was. And for years they're in a position where, oh my God, I'm broke. They had to move out to LA, and while their friends are in this band like touring, like, did we do the wrong thing? And they're investing so much in probably like Whiplash or the next thing, even making Whiplash, like, oh my God, we're gonna be successful. And then it probably took them like 4 years to realize, like, oh my God, we made it. So yeah, no regrets, and I think everything happens for a reason, for sure. I've definitely regretted projects that my attitude towards certain projects. Like I passed up on a couple projects I wish I didn't, or I even I failed a couple projects because personal stuff happening in life, and I just wish I didn't, because I always fear that I'm losing that connection with those people. And I always try to make up for it and get the relationship back on track, but there's definitely a regret of not doing enough, I think.
Going off of that though, how do you like go about determining when to say no to something? Because
For sure.
I think the same thing applies to filmmakers as well.
Totally.
To like know when things are piling so much is piling up that
Right.
even though an opportunity seems very interesting and you really would want to do it,
Right.
but probably the better decision is to say no. Like, how do you navigate
For
that
sure.
kind of decision making?
I'll simplify the answer by I go to these like composer talks, and it's usually like, oh, whatever, like, or kind of a waste of time, get a drink. But Austin Wintory is a big video game composer, one of the biggest, most successful. And I remember from the talk, one thing that stuck with me forever is as we all ambitious people are in the same boat, we say yes to everything until we can't. And one thing I'll take going on in the future is I will always say yes to everything. I usually say yes to as many things as I can on my plate, but I'll make sure to make a room for life to happen, because of I will take as many projects as I can to the point where I know if something happened with my family or my loved one, I could step back and be like, hey, I need to take like this week off.
Like, do you ever go back to your own work in the past and be like, hey, let's see if present me would make something different than me 2 years ago as a composer?
Sure.
Like, do you ever go back? Because I feel like down to this too, but I do it as well. As like, I go back to my old work and be like, let's make another cut and see what happens. Do you ever do that? And would you do it if you haven't?
I am along the lines of most creative people. I'm sure you guys know, like, you probably hate looking at your own stuff, generally, but then I also love going back to my work, just to see where my process was at. Like, I looked back at one of my first pieces I wrote when I was a junior in high school, and I was like, wow, that the importance of melody, stuck through even when I was 17 years old. And I was like proud of myself. I was like, wow, that through line is still coming through today. It's funny, I actually pulled that theme for another commercial. So I was like, hey, I was actually, I was doing okay at 17. But to directly answer your question, I don't like to edit stuff that I've done in the past. I'm sure you guys sort of move on and you always look towards the future. Yeah, for sure.
And, speaking of the future, right now, something has been taking over every creative space.
Yeah.
It's 2 letters. Now, how has,
It's called Drawing and Mic, JM.
Oh, shoot.
JMR, my bad.
Hey, right
JMR
on.
is the new robotics, bro.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
How has AI impacted your workflow, and what's your opinion on it?
For sure. It's the big question that everybody sort of answers, which I'm sure is the same thing in your realm. But particular for me, I do have to be careful, because when you think of music, the most niche, unneeded category, I think is or the most volatile category is commercial music, because it's simple tracks you can produce, and so much of commercial music is sound-alikes. So literally just making music that sounds like Temp score, and AI can do that even now, at a pretty decent level. So even if you talk to people in the commercial music space, and library music and sync music is a big thing for musicians. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's basically creating catalogs of music that are pulled by production companies, and every time it's pulled and placed, you get paid a paycheck, which is really cool. It's like passive income and a retirement fund for people making millions of dollars. But AI can take all of that down. Now, I've talked with people working in production companies, and they say that these companies value original organic music, but that's big production companies. There are so many production companies that don't have that scale budget. So yeah, that's definitely a fear. With film music and narrative work, I don't have much to say. I'm not too smart and versed, but from my understanding and what I've heard people say is organic work is valued at such a high level. If we're talking films and big pop songs, and going to concerts, I don't think AI is gonna abrupt that. But for commercial music and Hallmark scores, I think AI has the potential to take that over.
Yeah, and what have you done to kind of future-proof your career?
It's the same. It's funny. It's the way I've been proactive about my career is the same thing. How it's going to deal with AI, just having a foot in as many doors as I can. So if one door closes, that I can rely on the next one. Hopefully a feature film. I know you're not going to replace me with a damn robot. You know what I mean? But on a technical level, I think AI is also I've always been, throughout history, technologies help people. So even if that, screws up my job, AI is probably going to be, is going to help as more people than it's going to hurt, in the entertainment industry. And on a small technical level, like, ChatGPT's helped all of us. So even for like music production, it's been great, like all the AI stuff. So I don't know. I'm more like optimistic than pessimistic, and I'm in a position where it can literally take my job.
Yeah.
And I'm still like, hey,
Well,
I'm excited for it.
Like, how have you been able to use AI tools for composing?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's limited. It's very new. Like, you guys, I don't know if you use like Stem Breaker. You can study music better, like, or use parts of like with my song remixes, I need ad libs from like Travis Scott to place it in because I'll get the rights to a Travis Scott song, and I'll use, it's my creative freedom to use that. So I use AI to extrapolate different sounds, which is actually what I love about, even though my dreams do narrative work, I love like remixing. I love hip hop and I love remixing like Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott songs, all like sports videos. So yeah, I use AIs for that.
Nice.
For sure.
And you're a very extroverted person. You know a lot of people and you follow a lot of really talented friends of yours who are in the same field as you. How do you deal with imposter syndrome, or even like how do you not feel jealous when you're seeing your friends, who are your level getting huge gigs and these big projects?
I mean, there's always a duality in me where, I always feel like a little bit jealous, or like I long for the gig that somebody has, but I'm generally like a pretty supportive person. I believe everything. I think that like maybe the spiritual idea that everything happens for a reason plays through, and seeing other people, like so many people were in the same shoes. Justin Hurwitz was in the same shoes. I'm sure John Williams was jealous of all his friends getting these big gigs while he was doing TV commercials for like 10 years. But at the end of the day, who's remember like John Williams or Justin Hurwitz? So everything comes at its own pace, and I support my friends that do great projects. And to be transparent, all my friends are in the same position, like close friends, coming out of college. So, it's, maybe I'll answer this question differently when I'm hella jealous over my one friend, but I don't think, we're all in the same boat together. And it's funny, I encourage, like we always tell each other, we're always worried about whether we're going to make it. I say, if you make it, then I make it. Like if I make it, you make it. So genuinely, like I'm excited for my colleagues, like my friends for sure.
Nice. And you've scored so many movies. What was it like working with like directors, super different styles, and putting your own creative spin to things?
Totally. Oh, that's the best part. Like the different, every project is unique and requires different music. And it's funny because, I study so many. I love different music. I love R&B and hip hop and like music from Ghana, like in like West Africa. And it's almost in a way it's validating to have these different film genres that allow me to pull from these different palettes that I've studied and that I love. So yeah, every project's an opportunity to pull from a hat that I love so much. For sure.
And going off of that, I'm curious, like if it's horror, then I feel like there are certain sounds that fit horror.
Oh, for sure.
Do you ever play with different, like say if it's a comedy or something, and maybe there's certain sounds from horror, just an example, or maybe from like a adventure space film like Star Wars, and using that score in a horror, like do you experiment with different genres or different feels and then just place them in a different genre and see how it
for sure
feels? Like what's that like?
I think that's the amazing collaborative process with directors like Jang, where we'll have a vision and then we'll be like, what if we completely flip that around? That's why I think Temp music's so great. It's like, what if? It's like you just pull like a different track from another movie and fit it in there. And we've done that before for sure. Like we had that, probably missing at sea, like, oh, what if we made that like super upbeat and like we try it out and it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Post sounds a lot of creative freedom.
I do wonder, what is like the worst type of director to be working with?
This has nothing to do with my experience with the director or maybe the director himself, but I've had bad experiences on projects where the team doesn't have a schedule or have a time frame, and I'll have to do music and it's completely thrown away because of the lack of time and preparation there was into making the score or spotting the score or editing the score in. So I've done like short films where it was like super last second, and I worked with a director who like has a strong vision, then I do it, and then it just didn't end up working out because they completely changed the cut, or you didn't have time to like, I wrote the score and then play it back. We just went to the recording session, they throw it away. So it's not necessarily like that's the worst part of like, I don't like that director because of it. It's just like the unfortunate, timing of whoever's fault it was in the project schedule that like I had a really bad experience, and I hope that when I do a project, there's a clear scope of timing so we can review the music, prepare for the music, and like dial in, sort of the timing elements of the process for sure.
Yeah. Gotcha. And seeing you conduct a whole orchestra for different projects is, super cool. And in the orchestra, like, because I know you play piano really well, how many other instruments do you know how to play?
It's funny because as much as I call myself well versed in so many different genres, I only play piano. I have friends that like Ludwig plays primarily guitar. As I delve, this is a whole rant, but as I delve into like the pop music and that sort of thing, I think it's required that one plays guitar. So I'm learning guitar, and singing. Like I sing a bit. But yeah, no, I only play piano. It's sort of the mastermind tool for creating all music for sure.
And how does someone get good at singing or piano?
Oh. Practice. Sorry, that was my mom. Fucking practice.
I'm trying to learn how to sing better and how to play piano. Like, what's a way to do that? Is there any good online things to do?
For sure. Or? It's funny because I struggle to answer that question as a pianist because like I've played so long. But I can answer from a point where I'm learning guitar right now. I'm like thinking the best way. Mm-hmm. I think you should find your love for it first and like basic technique by doing like learning something you love, like just basic tutorials online of songs. And then once you get the basic grasp of like the experience, then you can dive into the technical aspect. Obviously, I think getting a teacher is the best way to do it. I think you should learn on your own, like off of YouTube videos. And once you reach the point where you're playing songs but you don't understand what you're doing, like get a teacher and learn a little bit of theory and like the technical aspect. Learn from Mic Ferrante, like come here, I'll teach you some piano.
Hey, I actually might. For sure, private lessons, dude.
But I think it's a form of, maybe with any craft, Jesus Christ, where like learn as much as you can by yourself until you can't. And then when you're stuck, get a mentor.
What about singing? How do you get good at singing?
Same thing. I think like look, sing your favorite songs, listen to singing tutorials. I think singing is a little different because it incorporates your body, and I've done singing lessons over the years, and I've had so many health issues like with acid reflux and asthma that I had to stop to figure those things out. So singing's a little different. I think you should have a teacher, and if you work hard, like you'll progress pretty fast for sure. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Who doesn't want to learn how to sing? Singing is awesome.
Well, Mick, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while, but would you be down to conduct a piece at my wedding in the future, bro?
I'm gone, bro. This interview's over, bro. Oh boy, get married?
Well, no. I mean, I'm just like in the future.
Okay, only I will conduct. I will organize. I'll contract. I will make the parts. I'll do everything. But you have to promise me that I'll be the flower girl, bro. Okay. I want to walk down the aisle. I'm dead serious, man.
Okay.
This is my boy's getting married next month. I said the same thing. He didn't let me. I'm not going to the wedding anymore.
Oh, okay? No. Well, if you're conducting a whole orchestra, of course you're the flower girl, bro. Come on now. Yeah,
do you have a booklet of films?
That was actually something I was going to give you after this podcast.
Check this out. My boy's a marketing expert. We got Teen Hood. Okay? This is Melodies of War. We got Melodies of War, one of the 6 films I scored. If we flip through, we got Teen Hood, okay, scored by Mic Ferrante. We got 3 different themes. We got the son, dad, and love theme, okay? That's what I'm talking about. We have an emotional arc in all our films. When we score and we make films, it's for the theme, okay?
Yes.
It's beautiful, man. That's a theme right there.
Hey,
it's my fault.
Put that in your pocket with the EpiPen.
Can I? Okay.
This is for you. I was going to give it to you after, but...
Bet, bro.
And you know what I want to do, actually? Yeah. I want to play some of the scores you've done for my films.
Oh, Lord. And
I kind of want to ask you your process and your mindset going into some of these.
Absolutely. Oh, that's cool. Yo, you made the demo reel, bro. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Well, dude, I just wonder, like, how did you come up with that theme? It's beautiful.
Oh, man. Wow, that goes back to the whole thing where, like, I don't know if people know, Leonard Bernstein is one of my big inspirations.
Maestro,
yeah, greatest like American conductor and one of the greatest composers. He revived so many works, and he's prolonged the life of a lot of great music because of his way he interprets music. And he West Side Story is his greatest work, and the way he'd compose is there's a joke where he would lay on the couch in his like studio and like looking asleep, and his wife or whoever was at the house would think he's like lazy, be like, what are you doing? Like, I thought you were working. He's like, oh, I'm composing, like this is the way I do it. So I do the same thing. I'll lie down or I'll go on a walk and the themes will come to me. It's funny, like I feel like I don't have writer's block as much because when we, the typical process is we spot the film, and you'll get me in like this mood, and I think I'm definitely in like a mood or an aura that I put myself in when I write or not even try to write music, but when I think of these projects, like my heart's invested in the project, and I think like I was probably in my head like, oh, like some sort of late night like dramatic piano piece, and I'll just come to me.
Would you like play around on the film?
No, like usually no. It'll just like come to my head. Just like a film idea might come to your head.
That's crazy.
For sure.
That's like
often like it'll just sorry to interrupt you, but it might not come right away. But I'll be thinking about this. Like I'll be invested in the film, not trying to think of a theme, but just thinking about like the mood of the film, and I'll be driving, and it'll just like come to me. I think. For sure.
That's beautiful. How much of your life experience or your emotions at the time of scoring goes into the actual score itself?
How much is my life experience going into the score?
Because in film, you're making a movie. A lot of times it comes from what's happening, how you're feeling while you're writing.
That's a good question. It's pretty disconnected. I think history has shown that like Beethoven was unless I'm getting this wrong, was super depressed person. Hold on, I might be flipping around. It's in a way that it was either Beethoven or Bach, but somebody was super depressed and he eventually killed himself, but his music was so lively. And it was always so happy. And there was also a really happy composer, and all his music was really sad. So I think it's just the craft comes through. I think that's the privilege of, or that's the outcome of really studying your craft. Is doesn't matter what's going on, like it comes out.
That's great. No, that's awesome.
I definitely, but on the other hand, I'm thinking that's film music. But when I think of like my pop music, I think lyrical writing maybe is more relatable to film because that's direct storytelling. There's a narrative. When I have my heart broken or like I'm like in a mood, like something's going on, like that opens up for sure, like directly. Like there's a joke where people purposely, or I had a friend that like purposely like left a girl like that he loved just to, like for the sake of art. So like yes, that there's definitely a correlation there. But I think there's like a different category in music for that. Yeah, maybe like lyrical writing or songwriting for sure.
That's
I'm not this PSA, like trying to get people to like break up with their girlfriends. Like life comes first before art.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
I would drop music any day if it meant I have to do something for my family.
Next thing we want to talk about is Melodies of War.
Oh, Melodies of War. Hell yeah. That's interesting because, sorry, before I answer your question, that's a unique thing. This is more relatable to like the commercial work I do because, this wasn't a theme I wrote. This was the folk song that you had, and I had to arrange that. Yeah. So it's almost like a song remix. So it's always fun, like, transforming something that, that was just like on a piece of paper to, string quartet and like cinematic drums.
I mean, this song was written almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just brought it to like a modern audience, right?
For sure. That was fun.
When I saw the
first live session too, huh?
Yeah, it was. When I saw the whole score you had with Melodies of War on it, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, of course. Dude, that was an awesome project.
Dude, that was so much fun.
Yeah. I actually like that theme.
Yeah.
That's actually nice.
Did that just also come to you?
Yeah, this is why I love film scores so much. Like I'm not, I usually don't do really slow, like adagio, single instrument things for projects, but like your films are so psychologically like nuanced, and there's obviously a lot of like sadness and love, themes throughout all your movies. Yeah, I think love themes are like a big part of, and I say love in a way that's like, romantic or like highly in depth with emotions. Just like, I don't know, a lot of John Williams love themes or like family themes, like Luke and Leia or like Across the Stars. I don't know if you know that. Like, yeah. So, yeah, that came super naturally after we were working on that. And there was like 3 different love themes there for both movies. Yeah, we combine them. What I love is that there's in music, I don't find it too often in film. I don't know if you've seen How to Train Your Dragon, and there's a part of the score where I think it's Burke. I'm not a big man. I'm a big
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon guy, but like there's a theme for the guy and a theme for the dragon, and it's sort of popular how he fuses the themes together and they happen at the same time. That isn't too present in film scoring or just in music in general. So I love how we do that on like a smaller scale.
Nice.
Like we have themes for different characters and we combine them like literally.
Right.
So that's an
I love
interesting
that.
process for your films where I've composed all the themes at the same time together. So I'll write the, girl, guy, and dad theme at the same time.
Nice.
And then we'll break it apart from there. So
That's
there's
so
definitely a lot of
interesting.
nuance going into your film music for sure.
No, I can definitely tell.
Even though it sounds simple,
Mm.
Well, wait, real quick, let me interview you. So like, so I don't want to fuck up your interview, but like, I'm so curious because I've been on set a couple times and I love it. Like on Reese's production set and your set. I mean, I was acting in this, but like, does drama go down? You're like, dude, what we doing right now? Like, because it's different in music where it's all like laid back, like in the orchestral session.
That's true.
In the orchestral session, that's the only time that there's
set is a whole different beast on its own. I feel like
an ecosystem. Really.
It's an ecosystem.
Is it ecosystem?
Ecosystem.
Okay, ecosystem.
And ecosystem, maybe.
Okay.
It depends on the leadership. If you don't have strong leaders, it's really hard to keep everyone happy.
That's a good.
And the thing is,
people are there for days, like sleeping over and shit.
yeah,
And people like walk out, like.
it is so important
It
that
happens sometimes.
your heads of departments are like leader people.
Yeah.
They're not just like technical people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if they're not leading, their whole team like starts struggling, and then their whole thing kind of falls apart. People overlook social skills and human skills,
Right.
but that's like the number one thing you need on a film set.
Right.
More than being able to
Absolutely.
light or something.
Yeah,
like,
the technical stuff can almost come second if you
For sure.
can't work together well.
It's a great point because in my my little thing is the only thing like that I have is the recording sessions, and when we're with 30 people, I have 3 engineers in the back, I have singers waiting, people outside looking for parking, and then 30 people recording. I always make sure to like know everybody's names and constantly check up on everybody, or else because
Right.
I'm not paying these guys jack.
Yeah.
I hope to give back to them, when I do like a bigger film or something.
Right.
But I think that's a great point because they would all fall apart if we didn't have people organized.
And on these film sets, they're not getting paid either. I mean, like
Right.
for
like
this
our
one
student indie level.
Right.
Most people are just there to like gain experience or to like meet people or to just it's something they enjoy doing.
sure.
So a lot of times, it can.
Definitely, I think that's when the only part of me like not critiquing other composers, like if people do that, like make sure like, oh god, I've had composers text other people the wrong name when asking for help because there's like so many people. I'm like, bro.
No, yeah,
So
right.
definitely be personal for sure.
Right. It's like if you're not, dude, shit happens.
Yeah, totally.
But this was actually such a unique film because we did this in a few
I
days.
acted, and you
You
gave
were
me
the-
God's opportunity to do that.
Dude.
That was the best day of my life.
That was
Sincerely.
such a crazy
That was
week.
awesome.
It was like we wrote the script next day. We were like trying to write the song.
Right.
So this is kind of the end of this
Okay.
music number, right?
Okay. There I am.
That's right.
We all have the same dream.
But yeah, that
That was
was.
so fun, bro.
I know. Oh my god, I miss
Look at you,
that.
bro. Well, I don't know. Damn, you all hit it.
I'm like right there in the
That's
back.
fine,
But I do wonder, like, from your perspective, because I know what I went through. But
Yeah.
from your perspective, like, what did you have to go through for this to come to life?
Sorry. Well, this is different. This was interesting because most of my mind was on the acting part and like, oh my
Right.
god, we had like a flag football game after that too. That was so
We.
awesome.
Oh my god, yeah.
We used the ski masks. Well, this was actually one of the first times I scored a musical. Like I've done smaller things, but this was, even though this was a short film, like this was pretty cool. This was an interesting process because we collaborated, with another songwriter. Ingrid co-wrote the song with me. And then I sang the voice of Riley's character, and then our other friend, sang my voice. So that was a whole thing. And that was cool how the collaboration process happened so fast. Like you said, we had to bring in a songwriter because it will happen in a couple of days. And I orchestrated it like in a week. And that, that's pretty dense, like the Temp idea was from that one musical.
The Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman. And that's a pretty long piece. Like this is cut. We cut about 45 seconds of the song.
We
so
had
we did more.
Yeah.
So that's so fun, man.
That
Our
was-
best friends there, like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, how did you, because I remember we had a song, but you were like, looping the melodies and stuff, right? Because we basically had a temp song before we filmed this scene.
Right.
It was almost like a music video. And what was that process like for you?
Oh, I see. That was cool because as we figured out through musicals, like you can't have the finished product for production because it takes a while in post to get the music right. So we had a demo with like a piano and me, like my crackling voice. And I literally sat, like I was a lead actor and I was sitting in the back, like waiting for people to listen to the music because I was so embarrassed. It was so bad.
No.
And no, you know what you had me do? You had me sing.
I did.
On set. That was the most embarrassing thing because I was like, oh my God, guys. Because remember, I had to voice everything. Sorry, that all came back to me. I was so tense.
Something we do on this podcast is we have the previous guest leave the current guest a question.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
the previous guest left you a question.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
If you could enter the movie as the main character, which movie would it be? This guy.
I am the main character.
Right there.
Been there, done that. What's the guy's name from Good Will Hunting? Matt Damon. What's his character?
Will.
Will.
Okay. I would be Will because he's smart. It's like, damn, he's good looking. He comes to terms with his mental health. He recognizes his talent and he drops and he recognizes everything and he gets to the girl and he realizes his priorities. So I feel like, that's pretty in line with what I am, focusing on my personal life over like my work stuff. But at the end, he also probably gets a job. And you know what? I don't have a job. So yeah, Will is me but with a job.
But you know what? You're self-employed. You're working for Mic Ferrante
exactly.
Music.
Yeah.
So hit him up.
Cap.
On Spotify, guys.
Jayong, do you feel unique or motivated by the fact that I don't know, you tell me. I feel like you're unique because you're always producing and writing something. I always know people that do everything, that at the same time, but you're actually getting this done. Like you're producing new things, a few times a year. Do you inspire yourself or what's the idea with doing that?
No, dude, I just don't know how to stop, really.
Yeah.
It's like if I stop, it's like I don't know who I am.
Totally.
So I'm just always making stuff. And it's so fun,
Yeah, it's inspiring.
You really
though.
get a high from doing that.
Yeah.
And I think
It's the adrenaline rush, right?
we inspire each other, which is the best thing.
And it's also like when you do something bigger on a larger scale, like you'll have so much freaking experience that
Hopefully,
you'll be comfortable with every element of like production, like even if, with your own production company, Yeah, after all that. Okay, Richard, your question is going into freelance. It's a very daunting element. What is your dream scenario with freelance? What's like the perfect scenario that you see?
I am really interested in making music videos and commercials.
Yeah.
And that's one of my goals for the end of the year is to make a music video / commercial. Sure. Not only because I think music videos is a great way to like sort of train your visual acumen, but also your skills as a director, because a lot of it really is about like rhythm, you have to have hit certain beats and go with the flow of the song. And the song's almost the score and it comes first.
Totally.
And you're making visuals based on that. So I thought it would be a really cool improve as a filmmaker.
Totally.
And a lot of like working like narrative filmmakers are also making music videos on the side. So I think that's like a great way to just meet more people and just keep getting better. But in terms of actually freelancing, I think we talked about this a little bit before, but like a lot of it, like starting out, is you're doing stuff that may not necessarily be the thing that you are trying to get at. So I am like completely open to like do all different kinds of like filmmaking, whether it's commercials, music videos, even verticals as well, stuff like that. And if there's like an indie film, maybe feature film that I can be a part of in whatever way, then that'd be great as well. But I am actively also looking for full-time positions at production companies, so we'll see where that leads me.
Richard. Same opinion about music videos. I find the same connections. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Sweet.
Appreciate
you.
you.
Great, inspiring episode.
Absolutely.
Jayong and Richard and Mick, JRM.
Sick.
All right, bro.
All right.